And so this morning, for Mother's Day, we are celebrating the divine feminine, the heart of the mother, the feminine essence within all of life. And so to everyone, happy Mother's Day. Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, defined the divine feminine in a talk he gave in 1916. He described the divine feminine as intuitive love. And that intuitive love has the power to uplift and expand every aspect of our lives. He called it the word of the divine feminine, and discussed also how this feminine consciousness, this blessing, this gift is to be found and nurtured in both male and female. The divine feminine has an ancient history, as old as the time we have lived upon the earth. In written history, we find in Greek mythology, Dionysus was the god of wine, of vegetation, pleasure, and festivity. The Roman equivalent is Gaia, the goddess of the earth and its personification. And Gaia was known as the earth or Mother Earth. She was the early earth goddess. And it is written that Gaia was born from chaos, the great void of emptiness within the universe. And with her came Eros. She gave birth to Pontus the sea and Uranus the sky. So setting aside the ancient concepts of the divine feminine, we ask ourselves what this term might refer to today. What does this mean to us in the lives that we lead and the challenges we face? How does this apply? For in Unity, we're all about practical Christianity. We need to apply it to our lives. So the feminine principle and energy is the source of our connection to love, to nurturing, and to tenderness, to compassion, and to a deep sense of calm and inner peace. And we can relate to that in our lives today. We can see that as something of a great desire to have. This deep sense of calm and inner peace, of compassion, of nurturing and tenderness, of deep love. The tendencies that we have, the urges we have to nurture, those feminine qualities and energies are found in both men and women. The feminine principle and energy is the source of our connection to creation and is the embodiment of that deeply held connection to nature, as in Mother Earth. She is the very fabric of our life. In the spiritual dimension, it means including and valuing the feminine as an equally fundamental dynamic of the creative life force and the divine, along with the masculine, again, both in men and women. It means remembering our interconnection and our oneness. We are not separate from one another. We are not separate from creation. And so we honor and allow ourselves to be aware of this connection with the divine feminine as an act of worship, not only to oneself, but yes, that divine feminine within ourselves, but honoring the divine within all. The essence of the divine mother, the essence of all creation, the heart of the mother. In scripture this morning, we're looking at the Hebrew scriptures. We're looking at what's called the Old Testament, and we are looking at Isaiah. This is called Third Isaiah because it's thought that Isaiah is actually 3 books. And so this is in chapter 66 at the very end, and it's verse 13. And it says, as one whom his mother comforts, so I will comfort you, and you shall be comforted in Jerusalem. It's a very simple piece of scripture there. And yet, to me, it is so incredibly meaningful because this was during a time that women were not truly valued as such. We can find that when we look within the scriptures, how seldom women are mentioned. And yet the quality, the mothering quality, is very much valued here in this scripture, acknowledged and valued. For at this time, when this was written, the Israelites, or at least a fragment of them, have returned to Jerusalem to find it in ruins. Their lands are occupied by others, and they feel bereft, as though God has absolutely abandoned them. And the prophet says, nonsense. God doesn't need a temple to be present. God is everywhere present and is affirming the quality of nurturing, is valuing the quality of mothering. It's an encouraging passage for us when we feel separate from our spiritual good. If we start to feel fear, or that we're living lives of lack, or that we feel that we're suffering, we can be reminded that God is always present, everywhere present, does not need a temple, does not need a sanctuary, and that new possibilities are always being born through us. This passage so affirms the value of the quality of comfort, of comforting, for we all need that. Just as a mother with a child, God is with us, God expressing through us and as us for one another, so that we can comfort one another in the physical form, in the body manifested on this earth. We can be a source of compassion, of love for one another because of our connection, spirit as us. Well, historically, the focus of Mother's Day was to celebrate those who had given birth, and there were thereby mothers. We might by chance mention those who became mothers by marrying someone who already had children, or we might mention an unfortunate father whose wife had passed and was both mother and father. Maybe we would mention them. Most often not. But how times have changed, and how wonderful. For we all have this one thing in common. We're all here because we each had a mother. That is universal, at the very least biologically. And that mother-child relationship, if we have or had a relationship with our mother, may have been or is wonderful and nurturing and grounding for us. Now, many of our relationships with our mothers were or are more complex than that. They're messy, they're complicated, perhaps they're even avoided. Yes, our mothers were and are simply people doing the best they knew at the time they were mothering us. And they may have succeeded brilliantly, or they may not. My mother, especially in my youth, was a woman with very few words, but she had a look. She had this look down pat, and there was never a doubt when she disapproved of something. And her love wasn't always expressed in words either. When I left home as a young adult out on my own, I would come home to visit, and then I would go back to my own apartment. I would find in my luggage cans of tuna fish, the good kind, the solid white, and jars of peanut butter. That was her way of saying, I love you, and I want to be sure that you're being fed, that you're eating, and it worked. But she didn't always express it in words. Now, she loved this top that I'm wearing today, which is probably one of the reasons that it has survived in my closet after many cleanings out. So let's take a moment now, each one of us, and let us honor that space of our mothers. They might be living, or they might have passed on. This may be your first Mother's Day without your mother, if she's passed on. It's my third. Let us honor every mother now. A deep, deep acknowledgement with as much love as we can muster from our very depths. Let's open our hearts and honor this space of mothers right where we are. Our beloved Minister Emeritus was the founding minister of Unity of the Keys Spiritual Center, Reverend Evelyn Casper. And Reverend Evelyn made her transition this month, 1 year ago, in the morning hours of May 2nd. And let us honor this space for our dear, precious Reverend Evelyn, sharing our joy for knowing her, and that she left this world on her own terms. That was paramount to her, and loving her, it was paramount to us. I was reminded this past week of the quote by Washington Irving about tears. They are not a mark of weakness, but of power. They speak more eloquently than 10,000 tongues. They are the messengers of overwhelming grief, of deep contrition, and of unspeakable love. And so we allow ourselves to shed tears. We let them fall. For loving Evelyn wasn't about the things that she did. It wasn't as much even about the things that she taught, although she was a wonderful, gifted, and authentic teacher. Loving Reverend Evelyn was and is about her presence, and her presence remains. Her love was tremendous, and her love remains. Her heightened prayer consciousness upon which this church community was built, her prayer consciousness remains. Just as Myrtle Fillmore was Mother of Unity, Evelyn Casper was Mother of Unity of the Keys. Knowing her well or not at all, we have all been blessed by both of these tremendous women, these beautiful lights of love and compassion, hearts of the mother, hearts of the mother. With our hearts full now, allow your heart to open, to continue to heal any wounds left unhealed. Mothering is not a simple thing. Mothers err. Mothers make mistakes. Our mothers were not perfect, and perhaps we feel that we ourselves as mothers were not perfect. And we heal ourselves by forgiving, knowing we were doing the best we knew at the time. And as we do, we're healing our world with our forgiveness. As we open our hearts to forgiveness, we're inviting the world. We're forgiving the world for not being perfect. We are forgiving the world for sometimes being unkind. We are forgiving the world for all of its imperfections, for slighting us, for not including us, for being rough around the edges. We're also blessing our world for being the divine feminine. For when we look for it, we find it. The divine feminine, the heart of the mother, is life itself. And so this morning, we continue to honor those who gave birth. We honor you. Those who lost a child, we honor you. Those who are in the trenches with our little ones every day and wear the badges of food stains, we honor you. Those who teach our wildest elementary kids, our ornery yet precious preteens, and our sometimes misguided high schoolers, who coach them, who guide them, who love them, we honor you. Those who have experienced loss through miscarriage or failed adoptions or running away, we mourn with you and we honor you. Those who walk that hard path of infertility, fought with pokes and prods and tears and disappointments, we walk with you and we ask your forgiveness for the foolish things we say. We don't mean to make this harder than it is, and we do honor you. Those who are foster moms and dads, mentor moms and dads, adoptive moms and dads, and spiritual moms and dads, we honor you. Those who became parents through surrogate, we honor you. And those who carried a life for another, we honor you. Those who gave what it takes to create a baby biologically, we honor you. And the doctors and the nurses and the technicians, all are honored. Those who have warm and close relationships with your children, we honor you. And those who have disappointment, heartache, worry, and distance with your children, we ache for you. We sit with you and we honor you. Those who are single and long to be married and mothering your own child, we honor you. And those who chose not to have children of your own and who lavish love and attention on the children of others, those fun and wild, crazy aunts and uncles, those generous, creative, loving friends and neighbors, we honor you. Those who step parent, we honor you. Those who will or have emptier nest in the recent or upcoming years, we honor you. And those who are pregnant with new life, both expected and surprising, we honor you. This Mother's Day, we walk with you. Mothering is not for the faint of heart, and we have real warriors in our midst. The heart of the mother is alive today, and we honor each of you. For today is a celebration to honor the mother spirit, which is at the heart of our universe. We bless our own mothers and mothers everywhere by pouring out gratitude and blessings for the loving souls who've nourished us through love and compassion and empathy to shape our lives and to mother our world. Regardless of our age, we still hold that same space for one another, to support one another in this nourishing of life. For you each express the divine feminine, the heart of the mother, in your own dynamic, authentic, and unique way. I thank you. I am blessed by you. And so it is.